Hey buddies, welcome to Mass Games. My name is Simon. Today we're talking about all the games I've played in the last month. It happens to be coincidentally the 7th of April at time of recording, happens to be the 7th of March when I last recorded. So there's quite a lot to talk about actually since last time. I've been back in the UK playing a heck of a lot of games. There's been Hexacon 2 as well, so lots of in-board game convention plays as well. So going back in time, let's talk to you about some of those games I've played, also games coming to the channel as well. So there's Point Salad. I've now played the app version. You'll find the videos have just been uploaded, so they'll be live this month, as well as more games of Amalfi Renaissance, a prior best of the month game. Also this is a game I played on Board Game Arena, as well as Flamme Rouge, which is a deck building game I've talked about in the past, Donuts, which is a implementation, an abstract strategy game by Bruno Cathala, Mlem, the space agency, or Mem Space Agency by Anna Knizia, Push Your Luck dice game in space, a bit like Pickamino. Not a big fan, but check out my Pickamino video. Just Google Mass Games Pick-a-Mino and you'll find it, like Pickamino. Also 3000 Scoundrels, I do have some videos out there. I've yet to do a full on how to set up playing review. Maybe I'll get a chance to use Paul's copy, whereby you're potentially bluffing, looking to steal some safes and getting the best score. Oxano is an abstract strategy game whereby you're moving pieces around, trying to get N in a row, in this case 4 in a row, of the right shape or colour, typically aligns to yourself. I wasn't a big fan of this. I think it's really quick, but not in necessarily a good way. However, SPIEL.digital I'm actually starting to approve and appreciate more. I did get a few wins under my belt, but then playing against James, I've now lost a few in a row and realised that I'm not as good as I play as I first hoped, which does dawn on you. Many players out there that you think are good, then you play some other people and you realise, maybe not. Pixies, this is by the Faraway designer. Check all my very popular videos on Faraway. Just Google a Mass Games Faraway. But Pixies I didn't like as much. There's only about 18 cards to play with, and you're trying to get the most points by synergizing, scoring points connected to each other, and there's various other things whereby you don't score any points which are negative points. If you have X's, you want them to be circles. And it kind of is something that I grew out of as well. Goshu X is a kind of a deck builder, which some people really do like, but I didn't get on well too much with it. But I do appreciate what it's doing. You're thinning your deck, you're getting out other factions, you're playing with various factions, and there's an element of picking your factions as well, which is quite nice. So they all have different things. Also, a Megalomania card game, and more games of SPIEL.digital, which was quite nice actually, as all three in fact were played on my birthday, and I happened to win all 3 games, and that was quite a nice experience. But Megalomania card game I was very impressed with. I look forward to bringing a video for that one. It's a trick-taking game in the guise, I guess, of the crew, whereby there are various objectives each round, and you can modify your values using cubes and other things. Very, very cool. 8 out of 10, very impressed with that. The Veil of Eternity, I know is like Seasons, but simpler. I'm really getting into it, very much enjoying it. There's a bit of I can see it being a bit too admin heavy in person though, so I do like the automation online. And also Twilight Struggle is a 2-player, I guess, war game, but you check out more videos from GMT that are live on the channel now. We'll come back to that. But this is a game that takes about 2.5 hours to play. I've played it both sides. It's a very highly rated game. It has been, I think, #1 on Board Game Geek as well. Pocket Cats, I didn't think too much of. You're moving cats around, you don't know what you're moving, and you're trying to get the best score. I happened to win when I played it, but it isn't a game I'm in a hurry to get back to. More games of Goshu X, as well as Spirits of the Forest, which is fine. Spirits of the Forest is a sort of interesting game. It wasn't something that really kind of stuck out to me, but a game that came out in 1946, and might come back to Spirits of the Forest in a second, is a game called Stratego, which I never actually had played, but there's an app version you can get for free, and I was very impressed with it. I thought that was a very interesting element of what you're doing, this block and this hidden movement, and you're trying to move around. When I say hidden movement, you don't know what you're moving due to the nature of the fog of war. But no, that was something that I did find of interest, and it is something that I do recommend. You might want to check out. Like I said, it doesn't cost you anything, so it's pretty cool. Just coming back to Spirits of the Forest, you're basically taking cards, but when you take a card, it has to be at either end of a route of a line, and you're basically freeing up other cards. And it's nice. I get the premise. I feel like you could be overthinking it. I happened to win when I played it, but my rating is a 5 out of 10. I just felt it a little bit too, there's no undo if you play it digitally, and the extra scoring of symbols is just a bit too much. That's my opinion of that. So coming back on to some other games I played towards the end of 2024 March. It was more games of the Megalomania card game, Catan, we talked about before, DEI, Divide et Imperia. Very impressed with this one. A game whereby you're moving out to various locations, gathering a lot of resources, using those resources to kind of deck build, and which allow you to get more resources, and they're also worth points. Very impressed with this. Only played digitally. I think in person it could take a bit of setup time, but I think I might be getting myself a copy, and you'll be hearing more about that hopefully in the future. But Sekigahara, the unification of Japan, this might make my game of the month for April. 2-player game. I've played it both sides. There's some asymmetry, there's a huge amount of strategy that you kind of develop as you play it more and more in terms of which way you go, because you're moving along routes. I like games where you move along routes. And yeah, check out the video. That's all I can say. It's really interesting. It's a real historical event as well, designed by a billionaire. Pook, I played Pook and Undaunted Normandy. This is now the 28th of March talking, and Village. Village I played about 7 years ago, played as a 3, we'd all played it before a few times, but never in this particular group. By my favourite designers though, pretty much, Inka and Marcus Brandt. It's a game whereby it's a Euro game, mid-weight, whereby villagers can die off but you can get points. I tried to try and keep my villagers alive, which sounds efficient, but unfortunately I ended up still losing, which was coming last, which wasn't that fun necessarily. Coming back onto Pook though, this is a strategic card game. My rating is again 5 out of 10. This is by Fox Troll Games. I kind of get the premise of it. We tied when we played it. It just wasn't that enjoyable. But what you're doing is you are similar to that Pocket Cats game. You're trying to make sure your characters are visible. That's basically how it comes down to, and that's all I can say more about that. You can check it online by all means. Again, it doesn't cost you anything to do so. It's just something that I didn't find really thrilling, and something I was keen to play again, hence a rating of obviously only 5. So towards the end of the month again, there are a few more digital plays whilst I was abroad. Played Wok and Roll though, that was in person though. So back with Sekigahara, I am back in the UK at this point. This is a roll and write game. You can see my dice licensing 97 as well as the unboxing video. It also did make my best of the month because of the fact that you create your own wiles. So when you roll a certain value, you can choose what you want it to be, but you have to have marked off already. More games of Pixies and Crack the Code. Check out all my videos for Crack the Code. I played now with the promos, which mixes up the game slightly, makes some things harder, some things easier. And this is a hexagon, by the way, and it's a game whereby you are looking to use deduction and communication, and there's limited communication. Decide, okay, we need to make our code correct for everybody's board to win. Nikoso Dice is a trick-taking game involving dice, a very kind of wonky, classic Japanese-style game, whereby dice can represent a value of a card, or basically use like a card to try and get a certain values. You're trying to predict to see who can win. I liked it. I started doing quite well in rounds 1 and 2, but I think it's too much of a swing in round 3, the final round, to basically take the winner. Also played Lemming. This is by a British designer. I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head. Sebastian is what I want to say. And this game is very similar to The Quest for El Dorado, which you can check out on the channel too. And that is a game whereby you are looking to sort of deck build and race across a grid. This is the Amigo edition, the German edition, and a game whereby you are, this designer, by the way, he helped a lot on the game Keyflower. So this is his kind of pedigree, let's say. He has made other games too, but I'm trying to bring up this name so you'll be familiar with it. It is Sebastian Bleasdale, so that is his main game. I keep thinking of Richard Breeze behind it, but Keyflower, it's because it's his R&R print, and you can check other games by R&R on the channel as well, such as The Glade. Okay, so now we're at the end of March. We also did play Undaunted Normandy. This is mission 6. I happened to win playing as, I think it was the Axis, and next time I'll be playing as the Allies. And on to the other final games we played at Hexacon. I finally tried out Dorf Romantic, the board game, which was great to try out. Again, if I'm speaking too fast, you can always slow this down. This is a cooperative game, very, very nice. As soon as one premise, which is basically you're trying to get certain, achievements. The only downside is that you get your highest score, but it doesn't really mean anything from what we're aware of, playing with a designer, Matthew Tibbury, his game, City of Zombies. And you can check out Outnumbered, which I've played too, but I've yet to do a video for either of them on the channel at time of recording. Sakura, we also played by Rainer Knizia. Quite a very close scoring game, which might make it feel a bit too, lacking in drama when you reach the end just to see who could win. As well as now my favourite game by Vladimir Sushi, because I haven't liked his other games in terms of how much he is rated as a designer, Praga Kaput Regini, which I guess is something to do with about Praga or Prague Capital Royal or something like that. More games of the Veil of Eternity, as well as Isle of Trains All Aboard, which seemed too long for what it was. Use of the cards, yeah, I mean, I will give another go, but it didn't quite grind with me the way I wanted it to, unfortunately. As well as Arkham Horror, check out my book reviews for the novel. I'm also now reading the short story novellas as well. More games of Rock and Roll, Pook, Cobra Paw, which I talked about before, dexterity game with the nieces, and Rock and Roll. More games of Arkham Horror and Arkham Horror. Sort of the Earthborn Rangers, which I've talked about before. I may have done a video for that too, whereby you're questing together, but things are interesting whereby you go out and quest and get various stuff. And Portal, the uncooperative cake acquisition game, which you can check out on the channel as well for more information. Now into April, we played El Cicco, or Cucco, which I happen to win at, which is an old Italian ancient game whereby you're dealt a hand of cards, so everyone gets a card each, and you're either choosing to keep it or not keep it, and everyone then reveals, and basically when I say keep it, you're going to be swapping with the next opponent, and the opponent then choose, okay, well you swapped, do I now want to swap? And you're trying to have the highest value. And everyone, all the values are unique between 1 and 14, or actually -7, I think +7 is a bit odd. Also Whistle Mountain looks beautiful by Bezier Games, looking forward to maybe trying out in about an hour's time. More games of Rock and Roll, as well as Bonanza, the bean game, whereby you can't move positions in your hand, like Hanabi, which you can check on the channel as well. Gloomhaven, I've just lost a game of Gloomhaven about 20 minutes ago. Flip Freighters. So this game, Flip Freighters, I actually quite liked. It's an open source kind of game whereby you have a deck of cards and you're moving along a route, and you've basically got various lorries, and what you're looking to do is cross things off, ideally in order, or all of the same type, or all different. But then any values you don't use to cross things off, you can use for movement instead. But the sooner you move, the better, because things snowball as it's over 3 weeks. And at the end of each week, if you've already delivered, then you'll score more points, or basically you'll score points again. But if you deliver something, let's say with 4 things in it, you get 20 points. If you deliver something with 3 things, you get 15 points. But of course, you might deliver something early, score 15 points 3 times and get 45 points. Whereas if you scored in round 2, let's say, that's 20 points if you've got 4 things, times 2, because it's weeks 2 and 3 you're scoring, and then you get 40 points. So that's quite an interesting idea. But I have seen that in other things, but I really like this Roll and Write, very impressed. Check out my Roll and Write playlist. Also, Cosmos Empires. This is a game which, how do I describe this one? It's a deck builder. It's a relatively straightforward deck builder. You can modify your values. I quite liked it. I kind of give it a kind of a 6-ish out of 10, maybe 5 to 6. It's okay. But I did well the first game, but then terrible value die rolls the next game, or dice rolls. So yeah, it did lower for me, and I don't fancy playing it again. The Binding of Isaac 4 Souls has finally arrived after a few years, so there'll be dice distancing 98 for that. Envelopes of Cash, which lost about 78 grand on Kickstarter based on all the delivery costs he had to front, and all his digital costs and going to hotels and whatnot. And this is a game whereby you are drafting and heading out using die values to recruit and play out cards and with engine building. It's a really nice idea. I just didn't think the execution was fantastic. More Games Mandala, check out my videos for this, whereby it's now released on BGA as well, fully, whereby you are looking to abstract complete grids and try and get the best score. Yeah, it's really cool. Race 3000 is a Lego game. I've talked about this before. It's a roll and move game. It's one of my, and it's very similar to, I guess, Dice Forge, similar early concept, and one of my least favourite games, but just happened to come up. More games of Veil of Eternity, Cosmos Empires, Sagihara, also Splendid Jewel, Zebra spelled Z3BRA. That's a trick-taking game from Germany. I need someone to translate it for me by Amigo. Looking forward to getting it to the table ASAP, so that's going to be this month. Another loss at Gloomhaven, some more games of Sagihara. Catch the Moon, I played this yesterday. There's a dexterity game whereby you're building ladders and you're trying to get ladders on top of other ladders depending on what dive roll tells you what you can do. As well as Dro Peralta, it's a small Oink game, a video on the channel for that, as well as Catch the Moon coming this month, and Back to the Future Back in Time. So Dro Peralta, by the way, is you're grabbing stuff. It's basically you're dropping a poltergeist, and you're trying to drop certain things based on what the card's matching to get bells. Bells stay in your hand. If you drop it, you lose the bell. Get 5 bells, you win the game. Back to the Future Back in Time. This is a game whereby it's a Funko game, which doesn't exist anymore. It's Goliath now. You're choosing to play cooperatively, like the other Dice Through Time or other Back to the Future game I'll come on to. And what you're looking to do is try and get the DeLorean to 10:04 p.m, whilst also making sure Lorraine and George fall in love. Do need to watch that film again. Nice idea, as you'll hear. I do prefer the other one because of we were unlucky with the dice tiling placement, and we weren't able to get the right tiles to mitigate. We weren't aware of what we were doing in terms of knowing that such tiles existed early on in the game. Town 66 though, this is a game which you can't get anymore. It's out of print, but we'll be doing videos for that. I have already done a video, in fact, it'll be live this month. And Town 77 is basically the implementation of it. Handles extra player, it's solvable as a solo game, and it's basically a 7x7 grid rather than a 6x6. Quirkle-like, you're trying to place out tiles. I do like it. I'm not sure if I love it, but it doesn't take too long, which is good. More games Catch the Moon, as well as what else? Cluster. So Cluster, I've done a video for already. Placing out magnets, hoping they don't all cluster together, basically. That's the premise. Get rid of all your magnets and you win. So Mandala played again. More games Town 66. Then 9 Tiles Extreme. This is a real-time game whereby you're trying to match things up. Match up 4 times in a row to win, but get it wrong twice and you're out. Just One we played as well. Got a score of 6, which isn't terrible, but they weren't happy with the score of 6. Thankfully, I didn't do too badly in terms of what I was able to offer. Azul Master Chocolatier, finally tried in person, lovely, very delicious, glad I ate beforehand. And 9 Tiles Panic, which is a really fun game whereby you are placing out these like these alien, you're playing as town planners, a 3x3 grid, and you're trying to meet various objectives the quickest. If you do so, you get more points and can be the winner. So that's very nice. Now just coming back onto Dice Through Time. So this is the other one we talked about back in time. Dice Through Time is you're playing dice sometimes into the future, which is a really cool concept. And the owner preferred the original, the first game we just mentioned about back in time, but he's a massive fan. He was wearing a Back to the Future t-shirt. Very, very cool. I like the fact that throughout the game you can actually meet various objectives. You can kind of get power-ups, you can get better stuff as well. Very enjoyable. It's the same design team, I believe, as well, but this one by Ravensburg, or Ravensburger, sorry, I've been to Ravensburg. That was cool. And as for today, Terraforming Mars, Point Salad again, and Zephyra, which is a cooperative game, very like Tranquility meets Forbidden Island. So that's it. That has been quite a nice 17-odd minute video to listen to. Hopefully you found it of interest and I didn't rattle off too much, but speak to you again soon. For now, back to the table.